Hello, this is Peter Combs from Bidamount.com, and today is Friday, March 3rd, 2017. We're running behind today. Our servers have been down for the last 12 or 14 hours. They just came back up, along with about 5 million other people. I don't know what was going on at GoDaddy today, but here we are. We're back. And last week we had some rather good things on eBay that we shared with everybody, and we're going to go through them as usual. And we're also going to talk a bit at the end, so stick around, about an auction that's happening at Christie's on March 15th, the Fujita auction. If you haven't heard about it, stick around for that. Maybe one of the finest small auctions of the last 10 or 20 years in rarity, just exceptional. And we'll learn a bit about the Fujita. All right, but for now, let's get started. We'll take a look and see how things are going. First, I want to mention this. This closes in 7 hours or so, if you get a chance. It's I know you're not supposed to sell ivory on eBay, but they seem to let it slip through over in the UK and Europe pretty often these days. This one's being listed in Spain. It's a wedding basket. There's a virtual twin to it at the Peabody Essex Museum. I'm waiting to see how this does. It has a little damage to it due to its fragility, but it's up to $1,613. I think it'll do pretty well. Rare thing. If you're in the U.S., though, don't bid on it because you can't get it shipped in. You will never get it through customs. But if you're in Europe, enjoy it. All right. And then this was on last week. This was being offered by Miggy Larry. He's a fairly new seller, but he gets good things. And he had this nice Wanly Charger. Pretty close to a charger. It was 12 inches. And like so many of these big Wanly pieces, it had a little hairline here and a little hairline there. And but nicely done, very nicely done, and did quite well. Brought $821. Nice price for that. Good price for the seller, good price for the buyer. Everybody made out. All right. And then there was this. It looks like a brush pot or an ink stand, but it's really not. It's a robin's egg blue piece. You wouldn't be able to put much ink in it, seeing as it's reticulated. Here's a shot of the inside. Well, no, there's a liner. Okay, you could put ink in it. It's an ink pot. There it is with the dragon. But a nice example. Probably late 19th, early 20th century, but in good shape with this very nicely carved stand with a conforming lid. It's a good little package, and did pretty well. Brought $1,000, $1,251, which was a good price for that. But you don't often see robin's egg with relief work dragons and blue overglaze enamels. So something for the scholar's collector. And then we had another Ming piece. There was a lot of Ming stuff coming up lately. There were some good sales in the Netherlands recently, and I suspect that's where some of this is coming from. And you had this. This was a nice Jiajing Ming Dynasty. It's marked plate charger. Very well done. Nice example. And reminded me quite a bit of some of the ones you see at the in the Topkapi Museum collection. There's the mark on the base. It's a provincial pot, no doubt about it, but a rather nice one. And a lot of them were done with rain marks on them at this time, and did quite well. Brought $1,675 with the hairline. All right, but a nice example. And there were this nice big pair. This was a big pair of Famille June vases, but it had a nice, interesting decoration in these cartouches. Had this very finely done sort of fret border or key border with these figural landscape of Lohans and a student, and it looks like he's being lectured with this big screen in the background. An unusual scene. And did very well, brought $5,380. Very good. Seems that we had a pair of similar vases a few years ago, and they also did well. So I guess Famille June continues to be popular. Now this was maybe one of the better buys of the week. If you're a Peking or you're an enamel collector, this is an 18th century Peking enamel bowl. The fellow listed it as a wine cup. Based on the shape and so forth, I don't think it is. Had a little loss here, and it goes through to the other side, but nice thick enamel on the interior, which you typically see on the earlier pieces, and good copper rim on it with some gilding still present, and so forth. Here's the bottom. Filthy dirty. Probably should have cleaned it before you put it up, but it went very reasonably. Went for just $154. So if you're a Peking enamel collector and you missed it, I'm sorry. but it was a good example. And then we had this jar. This jar was sort of a surprise to me. I saw it. I thought it was a nice jar. It's got a very nicely done stand down here at the bottom. You can see it's all carved beautifully, and it has a nice lid. And I thought it would bring about $800, and I was wrong. It brought $1,600. Very good price. There it is, $1,666. So somebody made out on that rather well. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. It seems to me it sold for an awfully big number. And then we had this piece from Ancient Arts, our friend Rob over in the Netherlands. A nice sleeve base, a big one. This thing was 18 inches tall in famille vert, late 19th century piece. Could even be early 20th. It doesn't make much difference. But with battle scenes in bands of battle scenes running down it, 3 bands with a Greek key border and this sort of wave border in between, and this diaper pattern at the top. Very nicely done. And it did well, but it's a big one. It brought $1,705. Most of the vases in this form you see in these colors from that period tend to be quite a bit smaller, like 5 inches smaller, 6 inches smaller in height. This was a big one. And we had this. This was a late 19th century, early 20th century sort of a scroll form wine pot, or teapot rather. Very nicely done. Here's some pictures of it. This type, when we saw it first, the bidding wasn't that exciting on it yet, but it was going to do well, we thought, because of the inscription and the type. This type of enameling Johnware, very popular, heavily collected. They've been writing books about it, and there it is. But beautifully done, and gilding on the porcelain, and no repairs or damage. So. It did very well. It brought $10,211. And last week we had Joanies up in Canada. It had a rather large sale up. Had a lot of bronzes in it. They also had jades and other things. And the prices in the sale, as you can see, were very strong. They did extremely well, especially with their bronzes. And here's one that I sort of liked the best, was this big lacquer bronze, red and gold lacquer. Beautifully done, wonderful face, and nice size. And here's the undershot of it. There's a picture of this of a stand that was attached to it. There we go, and or the base was attached. How the base was attached, and it did extremely well. It brought $42,700. So there you go. Bronzes are still on there. It will be interesting to see how this Fujita stuff does. And we saw this. This was something I was pretty excited about. I like textiles. I like carpets. And this was a really nice Ming, mid-late Ming Dynasty textile tapestry. Beautifully done with this sort of oversized, exuberant dragon. It reminded me of the dragon that was on the huge Celadon at the British Museum exhibition a few years ago. You remember, if anybody remembers that, the cover of the catalog had a big cloisonne piece on it with a huge dragon, very much in this style. Typical Ming work with this blue lotus border, very narrow but very delicately done, and then these sort of big oversized pieces, and lots of color in the way this is drawn out here. Just very nice, 20 by 30 inches roughly, and it brought $4,000, and I hope a collector got it and he's really happy with it, because that's a good textile. And coming up, closing tomorrow, Saturday, the 4th, is this rather nice Ming Wanly period guan, big jar, nice example, good color. Most of these, the color tends to be a little grayer. It's a good deep blue in this. There's the foot of it, okay, and that's what the foot on one of these should look like. You can see the radial turnings, you can see the paste, how it looked, how it sort of clumped up in places. Very typical, but a nice pot, and should do well. Right now it's up to about $600. I expect it'll rise quite a bit into the thousands. But if you're a blue and white collector, it's a nice thing, okay? And now let's take a look at the Fujita. This is what I've been wanting to talk about. Here it is. The Fujita Museum was started officially, it opened in the 1950s, but the collection was begun long before that. Originally by a wealthy Japanese family, and this was the man right here, Fujita Denzuburo, and he was an avid collector. He made a lot of money. They started out, initially I think they were making sake. They were sake cookers, and they did very well with that. And then he got into making clothing for the military, and shoes and uniforms and that sort of thing in the 1800s, and that was a very lucrative business to be in. And then he got into banking, manufacturing, he owned factories, and he became an avid collector. There's a story in here how he was bidding on something when he was literally on his deathbed. That's some hardcore collecting. And but he bought unbelievable things, the best in the world at the time, and this is just one of the things they're offering. There's 31 lots, as I said, in this sale. This is one of them. This is a big Yuan Celadon done with extraordinary color. You don't have to adjust your screen. That is the color of this thing. Beautiful, beautiful green, nice relief work. This thing is just about perfect from head to toe. I can't say anything wrong with it. And it's over 24 inches tall. A lot of vases you see in this style that were done in the Ming Dynasty or the late Yuan period tend to be pretty small, 8 to 10 inches or something. This is a big boy, 24 inches with a $200,000 to $300,000 estimate. It's worth every penny. All right, and there's several other Celadons in here. Then there's the paintings from the Shishu Baoji, which was the famous book that was started during Qianlong's reign, where he cataloged the palace collection of art. And a number of paintings in here. There's quite a few of them that had been in that catalog, and that he had personally, the Qianlong Emperor had personally inscribed. And one of them is this painting by Qianlong, 13th century artist renowned for his depictions of dragons. He was the dragon guy, and there's a better shot of it. He really knew how to draw a dragon, and on this scroll there are colophons from the emperor and other collectors, eminent collectors of the day, and this was one of his major pieces, and it's estimated at around 1.2 to 1.8 million, I believe. All right. Then there's this painting. This is a painting, and they believe it to be authentic, by Han Gan. And there are very, very few Tang Dynasty paintings in the world. Very few. This is one of them, apparently. And Han Gan, you've seen his other works. If you've seen the Palace Museum, has a very famous one of a horse. He's known for his horses. Of a horse on the cover with his attendant. And it's a really famous painting with a lot of inscription on it. It was done also by this artist. And this thing is loaded with Qianlong seals. Look at those great big Qianlong seals. Qianlong liked big seals. He put them on everything. But this is one of them. And it's estimated pretty reasonably at 500,000 to 700,000. We'll see how that does. If the crowd really thinks it's Han Gan, I think it'll go for over that amount. But boy, what a seal. I mean, what a scroll. And then there's this. If you don't feel like spending $1 million but want something really rare, it's a box set of ink cakes in the form of drums with gilt inscriptions on top. Imperial, Qianlong period, with the original box, presentation box. Really great quality, with an estimate of $50,000 to $70,000. Seems cheap. And then we get into the bronzes, and you have pieces like this. This is a 25-inch bronze, just amazing quality. See, wait a minute, hold on. See if we can get a better look at it. Okay, there it is. Here's the entry to it. It's a Fenglai. How tall is this? Yeah, 25 inches tall. And you want to blow this up and take a look at the quality of this bronze. Just amazing quality. Good deep color. Look at this green in here, and the depth of the crispness of this casting for a Shang piece. This is as good as it got. Absolutely exceptional. There it is. And there's a bunch of them in here. This is only one of several rarities. It's estimated, 6 to 8 million. And then there's this. This is probably the biggest rarity among the bronzes. It's a late Shang ram's form wine ewer. Talk about rare. And this particular one has been illustrated and talked about a great deal. It's been exhibited. There's an exhibition list on the left side of the catalog right here, and you can see how many times it's been exhibited. Very well known, exceptional provenance. All the stuff in this collection was bought prior to 1940, obviously. So the history and the background on the material is just going to drive the bidders crazy, to be perfectly honest. And there are also some carvings, some stone carvings, some beautiful Buddhist works of art here. There's some steels, and then there's the carved marble like this. Exceptional quality. If you look at the little things on this, they're just fabulous. And it's estimated at I don't know, $600,000 to $800,000 or something. A crazy number, but it's big. It's 25 inches tall. I'm going to blow this up for just a second if I can get it to cooperate. There we go. Come over here. Look at the way the robes are done. Okay, the robes. I always look at the robes to see how well they were articulated by the carver. They're hard to do, and this is just beautiful work all the way through. And the inscription, perfection on the bottom, beautifully done in marble. And the color of the marble is beautiful. It's a beautiful, soft, sort of straw yellow color. And here you have the mandala in the back with all the low relief waves and the Buddhist flower at the top. Just really great. Okay, so that's the Fujita collection. And if you haven't the time to look at it right now, save it. Go to the website. You go over here. You click Dealers and Auctioneers. You come down here to the Christie's button, and all the catalogs for Asia Week in March are right here. And there's the Fujita. There's the Baron collection. There's that wonderful Verada collection of furniture that's coming up. And there's paintings. And there's one more I have to add here on Asian works of art, and we'll talk about that next week. All right. Have a great weekend, and thanks for visiting. And see you all next time. All right. Bye-bye.